found them at dawn. 12 war horses lying in their stalls, foam dripping from their mouths, eyes rolled back white with pain. Our cavalry, the fastest, strongest horses in all of Northumbria, dying from poison someone fed them in the night. And because I'm the stable master, the man who feeds and cares for these animals, every warrior's eyes turned to me with murder. They said I killed our mobility. They said I sabotaged tomorrow's raid. But I loved these horses more than my own life. Someone poisoned them to destroy our warband, and they made sure I would hang for it. If you think you know who poisoned the war horses, leave your theory below. This betrayal runs deeper than anyone suspects. My name is Halfdan Horseman, and for 15 winters I've served Jarl Erik Stormbreaker as master of his stables. I'm not a warrior who fights in shield walls. I'm a craftsman who breeds, trains, and cares for the horses that carry our raiders into battle. In Viking society, cavalry gives you speed, surprise, and dominance. Without horses, you march slowly, and enemies see you coming from miles away. The raid had been planned for weeks. We'd strike the monastery at Whitby, rich with Christian gold, poorly defended, perfect target. But our advantage was speed. 50 mounted warriors would ride hard through the night, hit at dawn before they could organize defense. The monastery would fall in hours. We'd be gone before Saxon reinforcements arrived. That was the plan. Until someone destroyed it. I'd checked the horses the night before, fed them their evening grain mixed with herbs for strength and endurance. They were healthy, powerful, ready for tomorrow's ride. I'd even stayed late brushing down Storm, Jarl Erik's personal stallion, a massive gray beast worth more than most men's entire wealth. Then I'd gone to my tent for a few hours of sleep. Just a few hours. That's all the time the saboteur needed. The screams woke me. Not human screams, horse screams. The terrible sound animals make when they're dying in agony. I ran from my tent, still half-dressed, heart pounding with dread. The stables were chaos. Horses thrashing in their stalls, some already down, others staggering, legs buckling, foam and blood mixing at their mouths. I recognized the signs immediately. Poison. Wolfsbane or nightshade or something worse. "Get the healer!" I shouted. "Now!" Warriors were gathering, drawn by the noise. I ran to Storm's stall. The great stallion was on his side, breathing in ragged gasps. His eyes found mine, confused, betrayed, asking me to fix this. I couldn't. Old Greta the healer arrived within minutes, but one look told me what I already knew. "Poison," she confirmed. "In their feed. Too much, too fast. There's nothing I can do except ease their passing." 12 horses, half our cavalry, dying because someone had laced their grain with death. Jarl Erik pushed through the crowd. His face went white when he saw Storm struggling on the ground. That horse had carried him through 20 battles, saved his life more than once. They had a bond deeper than most men share with their brothers. "Who did this?" Erik's voice was deadly quiet, the kind of quiet that precedes violence. "I don't know, my lord. I fed them last night. They were fine. Someone must have—" "You fed them?" His eyes locked on mine, cold, calculating. "You were the last one in the stables?" My stomach dropped. "Yes, but I would never—" "The stable master poisons his own horses?" That was Torsten, Erik's second in command. "Seems clear enough to me." "I didn't poison them. Someone came after I left. Someone who knew tomorrow's raid depended on these horses." But the evidence was damning. I was the stable master. I had access. I'd been there last night. And now the cavalry was destroyed, the raid impossible, and the warband needed someone to blame. They chained me to a post outside the stables, while Jarl Erik decided my fate. I could hear the horses dying behind me. Each scream felt like a knife in my chest. These weren't just animals to me. I'd raised most of them from foals, trained them, named them, and now someone had murdered them to frame me. Erik's war council gathered around the morning fire. Thorsten argued for immediate execution. "We've lost half our cavalry. The raid is ruined. Someone has to pay." But Astrid, one of Erik's shield maidens, disagreed. "Halfdan has served 15 winters with honor. Why would he destroy what he spent years building? It makes no sense." "Maybe he's been paid," another warrior suggested. "Saxon gold. They knew about the raid, paid him to sabotage us." "Then search me," I called out. "Search my tent. If I took Saxon gold, where is it?" They did search, tore through everything I owned, found nothing because there was nothing to find. But like always, absence of proof wasn't proof of innocence. Old Greta approached Erik quietly. "My lord, I examined the grain sacks. The poison was mixed into tonight's feeding. But it's odd." "What's odd?" "The poison used. It's oleander extract. Very specific. Very expensive. Not something a stablemaster would have access to." She glanced at me. "But I know who does have it." My pulse quickened. "Who?" "I keep oleander in my medicine stores, for treating certain wounds in small doses. 3 days ago, someone broke into my supplies. I thought I'd misplaced it. Now I'm not sure." Erik's expression shifted slightly. "Someone stole poison from you 3 days ago, and you're only mentioning this now." "I didn't think it mattered until now, my lord." "Who has access to your tent?" Greta hesitated. "Many people, warriors seeking treatment, but only a few know where I store dangerous substances." Thorsten stepped forward. "This proves nothing. Halfdan could have stolen it himself. He helps injured horses. He's been in Greta's tent before." "Rarely," Greta corrected, "and never alone in my storage area." Erik turned to me. "Halfdan, did you take oleander from Greta's supplies?" "No, my lord. I swear by all the gods." A long silence. Then Erik spoke, his voice heavy. "You have until sunset to prove your innocence. Find evidence of who really did this, or face Blood Eagle at dawn." They unchained me but assigned 2 guards to watch my every move. I had maybe 8 hours before sunset. 8 hours to find a poisoner who'd been clever enough to frame me perfectly. I started at the stables, walked through each stall examining what remained. The grain sacks were nearly empty. The horses had eaten most of the poisoned feed before dying. But I found something strange in Storm's stall. A small piece of fabric caught on a nail. Blue wool. Fine weave. Not the rough cloth stable workers wore. I showed it to Astrid when she came to check the guards. "This wasn't here yesterday. Someone wearing expensive clothing was in this stall." "Could be from anyone who visited the horses," she pointed out. "But why would they be in Storm's stall specifically? Only I feed the Jarl's personal horse. No one else is supposed to enter." Astrid studied the fabric. "My brother Kjell has a cloak this color, but so do half the warriors with any wealth." "Your brother is on the war council, isn't he?" "Yes, he's one of Erik's most trusted men." She looked at me sharply. "You're not suggesting—" "I'm not suggesting anything, just following evidence." But my mind was racing. Who would benefit from sabotaging this raid? Who had access to Greta's poisons? Who wore expensive blue cloth? And why did I have the terrible feeling this betrayal went much deeper than dead horses? I needed to find who owned that blue cloth. But more importantly, I needed to understand why. Sabotaging horses wasn't just about ruining one raid. It was about weakening Jarl Erik's entire warband. Someone wanted us vulnerable. Astrid led me through the camp, my 2 guards following close behind. If you're wrong about my brother Halfdan, this will end badly for you. If I'm right, it ends badly for everyone. We found Shell near the weapons tent, inspecting spears with other warriors. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing that distinctive blue cloak. When he saw us approaching, his expression shifted. Just for a moment. Surprise? Guilt? I couldn't tell. Astrid, Halfdan, he nodded. Have you found the poisoner yet, stablemaster? I held up the fabric scrap. Found this in Storm's stall. Blue wool, fine weave, like your cloak. Shell's jaw tightened. Half the warband wears blue. That proves nothing. Then you won't mind if we examine your cloak? I mind you accusing me of horse murder when you're the obvious culprit. He stepped closer, hand moving toward his sword. You feed the animals. You had access. You destroyed our cavalry. Now you're trying to blame others to save yourself. Brother, please. Astrid moved between us. Just show us the cloak. Clear your name. For a long moment, Shell stared at me. Then he unfastened his cloak and held it out. Look all you want. You'll find nothing. I examined it carefully. The hem was intact, no tears, no missing pieces. The blue cloth in my hand didn't match. My heart sank. Wrong lead. Wasted hours. Satisfied? Shell's voice was cold. Or do you want to accuse someone else before sunset comes and Erik makes you scream? I had no answer. The fabric didn't match. My best lead had failed. As we walked away, Astrid spoke quietly. I'm sorry, Halfdan. I wanted to believe you. The cloth came from somewhere. Someone wore expensive blue wool in that stable. But not my brother. She paused. Though I'll admit something felt off. Did you see his face when we approached? He looked worried. Maybe worried his sister was helping a condemned man. We returned to the stables. The sun was past its peak now. Maybe 4 hours until sunset. 4 hours until I'd be chained for Blood Eagle. I sat in Storm's empty stall trying to think. The great stallion's body had been removed, but his scent remained. I'd trained him from a colt, watched him grow into the finest warhorse in Northumbria, and I'd failed to protect him. That's when I noticed something. A small indent in the dirt near the feeding trough. Boot print. Large. Too large to be mine. I measured it against my own foot, at least 2 inches longer. I showed Astrid. This wasn't here yesterday. Someone stood here recently. Someone with very large feet. Many warriors have large feet. But combined with blue fabric? We're looking for a tall man, wealthy enough for expensive cloth, who was in this stall recently. Astrid's eyes widened. That describes Magnus the Red. He's nearly 7 feet tall, wears blue often, and he's what? He's sworn to Jarl Sigurd, not Erik. She grabbed my arm. Halfdan, Sigurd, and Erik have been rivals for years, competing for the same territories, same tributes. If Erik's raid on Whitby succeeds, he'll gain enough wealth and reputation to challenge Sigurd's position. The pieces clicked together. Sigurd sent someone to sabotage us, keep Erik weak. Magnus serves Sigurd, but visits our camp often. Claims he's here trading information, maintaining peace between the Jarls. But if he's actually a spy, where is he now? He left this morning, said he was returning to Sigurd's settlement. Astrid's face hardened. But if he poisoned our horses, we need proof before accusing him. Sigurd won't accept our word alone. It would mean war between the Jarls. I stood up, new determination flooding through me. Then we find proof. Search his tent if he left anything behind. Question anyone who saw him near the stables last night. We had 3 hours until sunset. 3 hours to expose a rival Jarl's spy and save my life. Magnus had stayed in the guest tent on the southern edge of camp. When we arrived, it was empty. He'd left at dawn, taking everything with him. Or so it seemed. "There's nothing here," one of my guards said. "We're wasting time." But I'd spent 15 winters caring for details others missed. Small things, hidden things. I examined every corner of that tent while Astrid watched. Then I found it. A loose board in the tent's wooden platform. Underneath, wrapped in oiled cloth, was a small glass vial. Empty. But when I smelled it, the bitter scent was unmistakable. "Oleander," Astrid breathed. "The same poison." He hid the evidence, but didn't have time to dispose of it properly. I wrapped it carefully. "This proves Magnus poisoned the horses." "It proves someone did. But how do we connect it to Magnus specifically? He'll just claim someone planted it after he left." She was right. We had the murder weapon, but not enough to accuse a rival Jarl's man. That could start a war. Then I remembered the boot print. Magnus has massive feet. If we can match his boots to the print in Storm's stall, he's already gone, left hours ago. But he'll have to come back eventually. Spies always return to report. I turned to the guards. "We need to bring this to Jarl Erik. Now." The War Council reconvened with only 2 hours until sunset. I presented the vial and explained about the boot print. Erik listened carefully, his face unreadable. "This is serious," he said finally. "You're accusing Jarl Sigurd's envoy of sabotage, of trying to cripple my warband before a raid. I'm accusing Magnus of poisoning horses and framing me for it, my lord." Torsten spoke up. "Even if this is true, we can't prove Magnus did it without catching him red-handed. The vial could have been planted by anyone." "The boot print," I insisted. "It matches Magnus's size. No one else in this camp has feet that large." "Circumstantial," Torsten dismissed. "Not enough for an accusation that could start a war between Jarls." Erik stood, walked to the edge of the fire, thinking, calculating. Finally, he turned to Astrid. "Your instincts about Magnus. Do you trust them?" "I've never trusted him, brother. He watches too carefully, asks too many questions, and he always leaves before important raids." "That's because he reports our plans to Sigurd," I said. "That's his real purpose here. And when he learned about the Whitby raid, he sabotaged our cavalry to ensure we'd fail." Erik's eyes narrowed. "If you're right, Sigurd has been undermining me for months, maybe years." He looked at Torsten. "You've always defended Magnus, always vouched for his presence here. Why?" Torsten's face went pale. He seemed trustworthy. He brought useful information about Saxon movements." "Information that was probably false," Astrid said quietly. "Designed to mislead us while Sigurd strengthened his position." The sun was touching the horizon now. Minutes until sunset. Minutes until my execution. Erik made his decision. "Halfdan, you're freed of all charges. The evidence suggests Magnus, not you, poisoned our horses. But we need absolute proof before I can move against Sigurd." "Then set a trap," I said. "Invite Magnus back. Tell him we've captured the poisoner. See how he reacts." Erik smiled coldly. "And if he tries to flee or acts guilty, we'll have our proof." He nodded to his warriors. "Send word to Sigurd's camp. Tell Magnus his testimony is needed. Make it sound urgent." As they left to carry out orders, Astrid approached me. "You saved yourself with hours to spare." "Not yet. Not until Magnus confesses, or his guilt is proven beyond doubt." "He'll come. His pride won't let him refuse a Jarl's summons." She paused. "And when he does, we'll be ready." Magnus arrived the next morning, riding into camp with false confidence. I watched from the stables as he dismounted, tall and imposing in his blue cloak. He had no idea we'd found the vial. Jarl Erik greeted him with careful courtesy. "Magnus, thank you for returning so quickly. We need your testimony about the horse poisoning." "Of course, my lord. Terrible tragedy. Has the stablemaster confessed?" "Not yet. He claims someone framed him." Erik gestured toward the war council tent. "Come, tell us what you observed the night before the poisoning." I watched Magnus's face carefully. Just a flicker of concern crossed it before his mask returned. He followed Erik inside. The war council had gathered, 50 warriors in a circle. I stood in the center with Astrid beside me. Magnus entered, saw the assembly, and his confidence faltered slightly. "This seems formal for a simple testimony," he said carefully. "We take horse murder seriously," Erik replied. "Sit. Tell us your movements 2 nights ago." Magnus sat, but his eyes kept darting to the exits. "I was in my tent most of the evening. Retired early. Heard nothing until the morning screams." "You didn't visit the stables?" "No. I have no business with horses." I stepped forward. "Then explain this." I held up the blue fabric scrap. "Found in Storm's stall. Matches the expensive cloth you favor." "Many wear blue. That could be anyone's." "And this?" Astrid produced the vial. "Found hidden under your tent's floorboards. Still smells of oleander. The same poison that killed our cavalry." The color drained from Magnus's face. "Someone planted that. I would never." "The boot print in Storm's stall," I continued, "measured 2 inches longer than mine. You're the only man in this camp with feet that large." Magnus stood abruptly. "This is conspiracy. You're trying to frame me to start a war between Sigurd and Erik." "Why would I do that?" I asked calmly. "I'm a stable master. I care about horses, not politics. But you're Sigurd's spy. You've been reporting Erik's plans for years. And when you learned about the Whitby raid, you sabotaged us to keep Erik weak." "Lies. I serve as envoy between Jarls, promoting peace." "Then swear it," Erik interrupted coldly. "Swear on your life and honor before this assembly that you didn't poison those horses." Magnus opened his mouth, closed it. His hand moved toward his sword. That was all the confession we needed. 20 warriors were on him in seconds, forcing him to his knees before he could draw steel. "Bind him," Erik commanded. "Magnus the Red, you stand accused of sabotage, horse murder, and espionage against my warband." "Sigurd will declare war for this," Magnus spat. "You can't prove anything." "I can prove you tried to flee rather than swear your innocence," Erik said. "And the evidence speaks clearly. You had motive, opportunity, and we found your poison vial." Magnus's shoulders sagged. The fight went out of him. "Sigurd promised me land, a hall of my own. All I had to do was keep you weak, keep you from gaining power that would threaten his position. And 12 innocent horses died for your ambition." "They're just animals," Magnus sneered. "The warband would have found new horses eventually." That's when I hit him. My fist connected with his jaw before anyone could stop me. He went down hard, blood spraying from his mouth. "Those animals had names," I said quietly. "Storm, Thunder, Swift. I raised them from birth. They trusted me, and you murdered them like they were nothing." Erik pulled me back gently. Easy, Halfdan. He'll face justice properly. What happened to Magnus, I'll spare you the details. Blood Eagle carves lessons into flesh that other spies won't forget. His screams echoed across the camp until midday. That evening, Erik approached me at the stables. I was caring for the surviving horses, the ones who hadn't eaten the poisoned grain. Halfdan, you saved yourself through cleverness and persistence. You have my gratitude. I just wanted the truth, my lord. And you found it when everyone else was content to blame the easy target. He placed a hand on my shoulder. We'll rebuild the cavalry. Better horses, stronger warband, and we'll hit Whitby when Sigurd least expects it. I nodded, but my mind was on the empty stalls, on Storm's absence, on 12 faithful animals who died because of politics they couldn't understand. If you seek more Viking betrayal stories and warrior justice, join our warband. Did you suspect the rival Jarl's spy from the start? In the world of Vikings, honor is earned, betrayal is punished, and every tale begins with a lie and ends with blood. Skål, warriors! Until the next saga.